There's no doubt that this champion is the freest in the game at the moment. I mean, Briar is pretty strong as well, but JARVAN requires about one of your IQ points to execute currently with the build. You get to go Earth mode, and you do everything possible necessary from the jungle. You can full clear. Yeah, they nerfed the percentage max HP damage on the passive, which did affect his clear, but that was almost too fast. You can level 3 gank, you can level 2 cheese, you can invade. Although typically I don't advise those things anymore. I mean, you can do them, but it's better to, red side quadrant gank or full clear and worry about your rotations. The issue is, for most of us when we face a JARVAN IV, is that he has Conqueror, and he gets to build Gore Drinker. And that active is always a big problem in terms of healing and sustain, and because his Earth mode gets activated on Shojin, he can EQ in, be in a bad position, press a W, which now scales with 80 since the buff, a couple months ago, and then, if he's in trouble, Gore Drinker and then EQ out again because it's on such a short cooldown. And that's the problem with the champion. He has so much mobility, damage, sustain, team fighting, assassination, picks, dunking with his ultimate, which sticks immobile people in the wrong position. Obviously, here we've got the Tristana sagging down here. We've got the Echo and the enemy team doing a very interesting 3-camper loop. We see the low HP on the Tristana because we're looking at other lanes. We should be looking at all the lanes. Orianna gives us some juice. We see the Tristana. Now we know at this particular stage that the Echo's going to be here, but he's looking at bottom lane because they're low. So the mind game's obviously already beginning with the junglers. 3-quadrant ganking both of them. Echo gets stuck in the flash. He's going to flash for that auto attack. Make sure he gets that kill, drop back. And of course, JARVAN's going to show up and say, hello, flash EQ. Let me just auto attack you. Got the shield. You will die now. And that's the problem. This is good, right? This is fine. We are casing an EQ flash. But before, when this didn't scale with CDR, the world was a better place, basically. There's no real reason why that E had to go down with scaling. And they did that in mid-season 12. So King Nidhogg was already, championing this haste build where you could EQ and EQ and EQ and EQ, and those are the memes we're making right now. So, if you want help implementing this information into your own game, I have a free jungle improvement resource, as well as a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly free video content seen nowhere else, as well as Q&As and patch note rundowns, as well as a private jungle Discord. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's converting junglers to gold, to emerald, to diamond, to master plus. If you want to climb faster than anyone you know, jungle diff every game you play, click the link below or head to virkayu.gg. What we're looking at is a champion who's allowed to do these things, go in, shield, do damage, and dunk, lockdown for his team. But if you play badly, you shouldn't be able to EQ out and then EQ back in again on repeat. And that's where people have a frustration point, which is obviously a lot to do with the Shojin itemization and less JARVAN, but it's more like how his kit allows it to happen. So overall, you don't have to think too much as we watch this. I mean, you don't have to watch him either. You shouldn't be watching yourself as JARVAN. Take your hands off the wheel. Enjoy yourself a little bit of a clear while you watch the lanes. You look at this. And of course, if you are struggling for cash money gold and being out-jungled, which shouldn't happen, but if you are, you just throw down your E and off you go. So the Echo died with his red side quadrant up. We know he was going to come down to the bottom side, so we're going to show up here after doing a blue drop. We're going to EQ. Nice EQ, though. Obviously, there is some skill expression in that, but it's not difficult, right? It's not difficult. Now, we're 2-0-1 early. Can clear quickly. And we're already invading the enemy jungle, and that's another issue, right? He is able to invade, out-damage, out-sustain, and out-CC most junglers. And while Briar is definitely broken S tier plus, S plus tier, hers is more of a stat check issue, right? Like, you can nerf for numbers. That being said, they did nerf for scaling and her numbers is patched, but they can nerf it further, should they want. And effectively, she will be tapered down quite a bit because the kit's quite simplistic and definitely will be numbers-based. With JARVAN, his numbers can go down as they have, but when his kit provides this much utility, sustain, tankiness, and damage, where do you hit him? And honestly, you nerf that E, we're good. But anyway, let's stop ranting about that and talk about how you can use your singular IQ point to actually carry on this champion. So now we've got Iron Spike Whip. That's a great start for us. We see this over here. Can we gank this? Can we prevent a dive? Is Echo going to be floating up to the top side here? Definitely a possibility. Unfortunately, for Echo, he's not got that positioning, but, Aatrox shitting on the Gwen. And if you decide, look, you can decide, and even in Challenger, you see this, like, that wave's too fat. If Echo's there, I don't really want that 2v2. I'm not interested in it. I want to get level 5 first, which is obviously good. We should hit level 5 here, as always. That's always critical, right? When you're full clearing, or quadrant clearing, rather, ganking, you're ganking again, you're falling back to some camps, you're doing this, or you're full clearing down, you're getting a gank, you're getting a scuttle. The second camp respawns are very important. Like the first respawn Krugs, the first respawn Raptors, these should give you level 5. If you're behind here and you're not level 5 after Raptors, and this is a frequent occurrence for you, then I would look at your first rotation. Where are you missing experience? Either through ganks, scuttles, invades, counter jungling, or just general laner impact, you know? So always keep track of those things. We have here the Tristana super duper low, level 6 Orianna, very strong champion who our ult is used. We want to try and go in here, but obviously you got to time and pay attention to the rocket jump. The Echo's going to counter gank this, but like again, do you care? No, he didn't even use his Aegis, his W. And I was like, okay, well, if you're going to show yourself, all right, and Aatrox is moving down, I'm just going to go ahead and take your Raptors. Like, this is, right? Like, you don't have to think too much. You just do what you feel like doing. That's a good way to explain it with Jarvan. It's like, hey, you want to move somewhere? Go for it. Now, already, what are we looking at here? 12 seconds on Demacian Standard, obviously. But that's the flat. That will go down, obviously. And Shojin will enable us. But look how easy this is. Look how easy this is. You just create a little bit of a tempo advantage over the enemy jungle, and your EQ allows you to go. And obviously here we do have to be cautious with the counter game from the Echo. We did telegraph this. You know, good job by the Echo. He's allowed to play the game as well. Try not to die, although that is difficult once you have this into Gorge Ring, and the damage here is still good. Orianna's moving on down, but yeah. Hey, look, Prio. Thank you. Hey, look, EQ. Nice ganking angle. Thank you. In other situations, you get the gank off, so that's good. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for. Use your EQ to circumvent vision and look for good ganking angles all the time, because again, the cooldown eventually is going to be super duper low, very easily managed for you. Now we're going against a strong champion in the PvP sense, which is of course the Echo, but we are also too strong. Armor shred on that Q, people don't really pay attention to that right here. You see that percentage armor reduction for 3 seconds, and when you apply that, does enable you a lot more, as well as your teammates, especially when there's a center there. So, strong PvP 1v1 as well. I don't mind a champion having utility. And no one does, but not when they have everything else as well. 3-0-1 should always be your goal at the beginning of a game. I mean, not necessarily exactly 3-0-1, but you're looking for a deathless, high-tempo ganking sort of playstyle. But then you look at it and you're saying, well, the Echo's done okay in terms of his positioning, but it's been counter-ganked and counter-dealt with by the Jarvan. The thing is, the Echo is down now, you know, 9 CS. He's going to do the blue and the grump, which will catch him up. And he knows the Jarvan's on the bottom side most likely, so he could look to easily do this Herald. But now the Aatrox is a bit chunked, and the Gwen is now level 8, and, you know, the Gwen's come back into that lane here, 73 to 46 CS. Always good to pay attention to those things. When you look at your top laners, and you see them shoved in like that, sometimes it's not always a bad thing. But in the Jarvan's case there, he didn't want to interact with that lane whatsoever. You can see the Gwen has it under control. If the Echo dies, he doesn't want it to be too cool. But the Gwen then, look at this, 76 to 53 now, has huge control over that lane. Jarvan can afford to do a dragon knowing that the Echo cannot do anything here. Echo is seen to go across here. Obviously, that's thanks to some vision and obviously, you know, kind of obvious. Hey, I took the dragon, enemy jungler and challenger. Okay, I'll take your top side quadrant. Normal stuff. But we want to go dunking. Dunking donuts. Dunk master Jarvan. It's weird that that doesn't exist. Rakan sees this. This is always very well played by the blue side bottom lane, right? When you see this or you have an idea that this might happen, it's very, very good to use your kit before the wave crashes to prevent the enemy jungler dive. And obviously they can still go ahead and do this dive, which they probably should not, considering... Oh, okay, there's 2 on the top side now. But yeah, if you don't see the Echo whatsoever, and they're not doing the Herald, and you can see that, and you know he's taking your shit and gone back to base, and now he's coming to the bottom side, track that timer. Because if you still want to go for this, when you hover this long, it does enable mid lane roams and jungle collapses, and after 10 minutes, it's 9:21 here, but after 10 minutes, top laner TPs. So just when you're going for this around 9 to 12 minutes, be wary of what you're giving up in terms of farming tempo, objectives, and possibly kills if the enemy is going to rotate. But now that we see this, we have good knowledge about that, we can just go ahead and take this red. And obviously, as I was saying, blue side bottom lane, if I see this dive coming or predict this dive coming, especially playing support, and the wave isn't yet crashed, I will blow loads just to chunk. I will chuck out my whole Zyra combo on that wave and champions, chunk them out, rinse the wave so my ADC can finish it off, and now they have no dive. And what that allows is your Echo to go ahead and get that Herald, and I'll go diving topside. But again, you're JARVAN IV. You don't really care about these things. You just go ahead and counter jungle. Come on, Echo, get yourself a kill, baby. Here we go. And we have the Herald for plates. So you can now counter jungle everything. And here, that's also the thing, right? Oh no! Anyway. Anything that happens in the game when you're playing Jarvan, the response is, oh no. Anyway, you know. that even if you are being destroyed, and here's the thing, right? When you are being destroyed by the enemy jungler, and you're Jarvan, you're just having an off game, he's up by 20, you know, he's got 2 dragons, maybe even got the Herald, and you're like, well, you know, I don't know what to do now. Run around and gank shit. Run around and PvP. Run around and play absolutely brainless. Give in to temptation of your feelings, not stoicism. You know, go straight into your feelings, embrace emotion, the dark side of the force, and just run around and kill shit. Use your gold dragon to survive. Use your W to survive. Use your EQ and EQ out, EQ in and EQ out, and off you go, right? Obviously, we don't have any points in this yet, but you're going to start to see that tick down. At current haste, it's already 8.33. We'll keep track of that just so you see what I mean in case you weren't really aware of it. But this is the problem with the game at the moment. And in my opinion, it's a big ability haste creep. But if someone goes in and makes a mistake, even if they get an assist, they should be granted a free out, right? Like an assassin who jumps in and makes a categorical error going in, just because, say, a Xerath shoots his cum shot and gets a kill and you get the assist or takedown through bleed and you're able to activate your Dustblade, doesn't mean, right, that you should be able to have that on target ability to reposition. Like, if you misposition, you should be punished. In Goldringer's case, if you misposition, you shouldn't get so much of a heal from it. Like, the Renekton and Jarvan clips say enough, in my opinion. It can do damage, or it can heal, because you got the Omnivamp on it as well. And also in Jarvan's case, if you go in and make a mistake, you shouldn't be able to EQ out that quickly. Like, you went in and made an error engaging, tough shit, you die. That's part of the game. Here we go, flash EQ, activate obviously the Gold Drinker again. Now we can just activate our auto attacks, because remember that E activates an attack speed steroid. Do miss that Q, but doesn't matter. Orianna picks up the kill, free gank. Good life. And as you saw this in EQ dunk on the Xayah who flashes out, free flash burn. Against immobile champions, it's really annoying, because if he EQRs you, you know you die. You don't beat him 1v1, so you have to flash out. And as Jarvan, just go in, because there's no downside. And that's kind of what I'm saying here. That's why you can play like a monkey. 302. 12 minutes. Gold amount is 5.1. The 1v9 metric I like to use is 6,000 gold by 14 minutes at minimum. Basically, if you have that in your replays and you look at your losses, if you have 6,000 by 14, okay, I could have 1v9 this. What didn't I do after 14 minutes? It's always a good, just a VOD review sort of question you can ask yourself. Maybe I can talk more about that in the main channel video one day, but yeah, I like to think like that. You know, even if it's not possible to win just because of trolls, or even if you get to 30 minutes and you did everything right and it's just one mistake, it doesn't matter, right? Again, EQ misses, doesn't matter. See, you can kind of do this now. Camps are off the map so quickly. You've got so much downtime. Just EQ at shit. Just run at stuff. You've got Dunk, you've got enough for turret damage as well. Here we go. EQ over the wall. 2 points already now, so 8.85 seconds. Tristana shows up, we'll just dunk her and kill her. Gold Drinker active as well. Ay. Really is not fun to face, not very interesting whatsoever. But if you want pure LP, if you want easy LP, this is it. Counter jungling, farming, ganking, teamfighting, sequencing, mindless. Put on a Netflix show, put on some music, and off you go. Echo, in the meantime, I've kind of dropped off of the tier list as we see him 420 nice. You know, he's down 30 CS now. So you think about Jarvan categorically in history, right? What has he been? A ganker, a cheeser, right? Not a farmer. Here's the problem. Why is someone who's able to outgank anybody else farming this easily? So they did nerf that passive, but the pets, the AD ratio coming back in the pets, and the itemization is all fused together for him. So I'm hoping that gets nerfed as well. Well, when they remove mythics, right? When they remove mythics. But yeah, not saying that there's other strong things. Not other strong things there are, obviously. I'm just saying that out of all the strong things, if you want the freest LP, this is the way to go. I mean, it's undeniable. So now there's a dragon available, Hex Tech Dragon as well. Pretty good for your whole team. Orianna loves her auto attacks as a mage, even because of her passive. And then obviously we have the Senna. We have Tom Kench. Gwen. Whew. Echo's coming in. Oh, he wants to steal it. He's not able to get it. He does hit the W stun, and then he ults and retracts back to his side of the jungle. I'm not always a fan of like forcing those steals, because I feel like if you play differently or properly, you know, the Echo could just be taking all of this and maybe dealing with the Aatrox helping, dealing with the Gwen helping Aatrox a little bit, get a bit more PvP, because now he's caught up nicely, right? 1-0-1. So I know it's a big dragon. I know you don't want to give it away, and I know if you steal it, it's great, but I prefer a guaranteed 16 to 20 CS, while he gets 4 on the Dragon. Sure, those stats are valuable for the whole team, but they didn't nerf those base Dragons, and even though they are very, very strong, I don't think it should compromise your whole game. For steals, is what I mean. Here we go, EQ dunk, auto attack cancel with the Gold Drinker, just keep autoing, chuck another Q, the ult is finally used, she doesn't have flash, there we go, another kill. Now we have a Q for this one, EQ over the Rakan, we have Smite, Gold Drinker active again. Like, Xayah could be fed, Xayah could have 8,000 gold, and he's at 7,000 gold now. And it wouldn't matter, right? Like, she could have a huge lead, and he could still do this to her and kill her because of this and this. The healing is now 157. It's not big, but we have seen games where that number can climb quite high. Wouldn't necessarily buy Morello's for it, but if, you know, there's a Jarvan with a Gore Drink, you know, an Renekton with a Gore Drink, and you get someone building Bloodthirster, and you get someone else with Sustain, then build it, please. It does do something in these situations. All right, Shojin. There we go. So, yeah. Go in, survive, go out. Ay. This item was removed from the game the first time for a reason. Don't know why it was brought back. The stupidest decision, honestly, really stupid decision. The itemization this year has been god-awful. I'm glad they're removing mythics, but just the overall design decisions. Here we go! We have dunking soon. 2 seconds until dunking. 2 seconds until dunking, and we can flash dunk. Boom! Look at the damage it provides, and then EQ within the dunk. So, just press your buttons. I mean, like, there's no nuance to it. Be a brute. Be a raw brute, you know? Hello, EQ is up again. Oh, he sidesteps it. This is, of course, an Aatrox, so when it comes to the Battle of Sustain, look at that. There you go. Nice big heal there. 603 now. So it was 152, and after that fight plus there, it's 602. Like, that's just 500 healing, 450 healing, rather, within a short time frame. So let's see what that is at the end, because I do think, while this is a categorical issue for CDRs and rotational spells, on champions that shouldn't have this much mobility by default, I do think this is an issue for overall, you know, it's a synergy. Yeah, we just want to make sure we get that. Now we're at 786, just casual, another 186 heal. EQ will be up again, and there it is. Check it again. 706, 2-item spike. What do you do? It's very frustrating to play against. But to play as, if you want to win, and you want to have fun winning, and you want free LP, do it. As you can see, it's great. And of course, we're 3 levels up now. And being in the jungle is about playing the strong shit if you want to climb with ease, you know? But I will say that I am borderline this sort of meta rivals Chemtank from season 11 in terms of how much you can get away with. Really does. But as always, it doesn't matter, right? All of this being said is just from my POV, and obviously generally just facts because you can see what this does. But it's more, you know, you still have to use, to execute this, probably you still have to use your jungle knowledge. So if you're a good jungler using this, you're going to, like, the sky's the limit, right? If you're a bad jungler and playing this and saying, well, I can't climb with Jarvan, well, then you know, your jungling's probably way off, because it's not the Jarvan, right? Like, the Jarvan is enabling as much as possible, but you still have to do it. You still have to understand to do it, and obviously that's, you know, takes solace in that. If you're playing Jarvan and you're climbing, good job. I mean, your jungling's good, you're playing a strong champion with very little weakness. That's what it's about, right? And there you go. Now we activate, I love this, because what they'll try and do is counter push to a certain degree, right? To offset your pressure, but you activate the second herald. This is a perfect second herald. You see pressure, let's just rewind it, I'll speed it up, don't worry. You see this, right? You see this, you see the map, okay, we're coming to base, we go to a blue, watching this, they sag down, we see the Orianna, we activate it to take this one. We see this, we're watching, okay, could they rotate down to us? Yes, they could. We see the plank get hit, we're shadowing the Orianna. We see the TP, we see the Xayah, we see the Rakan, right? We see all of this going on. We've activated the herald, they're choosing not to defend. Aatrox moves in here, we got 3 here, Tristana's top lane, keep pushing. So a good second herald really is able to execute on an enemy's misposition, but also really open up a game. Like, their team, you know, while we're destroying them, are still not that far away in gold, right? Still not that far away in gold. And while Orianna and Jarvan scale nicely, your set is still 1, 5, and 8. Your Tahm Kench is still 2, 4, and 2. Xayah will get big. Echo can still do a lot. Aatrox can still do a lot. And look at Orianna's auto attacks here. Boom, baby, boom. Huge, huge second herald push. Tristana's going to try and get a bounty now, but it's worth it for us. Now you're going to say, well, if they can get so strong, is it worth giving them a super wave, inhibs being down, in order to open up the map? I think here, without a doubt. Gore Drinker versus Gore Drinker. What's his healing at? 614. What are we at? 872. So, you know, against certain comps, you know, I wouldn't want to open that inhib. But in this particular case, when you're challenger or you're in an elo or with a team where that's super fed, and you know with that pressure, you can very easily drag in, Baron, and end, then it's perfect. But you got to execute, and that's the thing. So we're going to focus on that now. So Gwen shows up. This is shoved in. Always wave pressure is very important in these kind of macro scenarios. Orianna's taking this one. Echo tries to shove here. I did this as well. I did this yesterday. Jarvan was coming for Elder. I knew my team could take it. There was no plant here. I knew I could zone him myself, so I just zoned him and kept him off, and then my team secured the Elder. I killed him. That was it, right? So while it's good to have Smite in the pit, sometimes you can actually just do the zoning yourself if it's just the enemy jungler trying to steal. But you have to play well. Like, that could backfire pretty easily. If you don't play well, it's doomed, so yeah. And you see, now she has to hold the bottom wave, obviously. These two are going to try and stop us. We can just turn on the Baron, and if they show up, we kill them. And then we do the Baron for free. So let's see what happens. Obviously, you use the bottom inhib pressure to get Baron. Got 3 dragons. We can, in theory, hold. Like, if you can't do the Baron now, you can hold and trade your soul point for the Baron, which, of course, they will want to do. But honestly, if you're losing a game like this, I don't mind. I'd rather take the Baron and give the soul, because then I can play for Elder. I can use the Baron to play for Elder. If you're a strong scaling team comp and you don't really need any dragons or a soul, and you don't mind them getting soul, and you can play around it, then I would prefer to take this as blue team, give the soul to the red team, hypothetically, and then I can use that Baron to hold, shove up, create some pressure, and when eventually Elder spawns, the map is in my favor, and then we can basically just all-in fight for it. Or snack it away if we're playing well. EQ. 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 Aye. 808. Bottom inhibitor is taken. This is a great way to play the game. This is exactly what you're looking to do. Gwen is pushing on the top side here. Obviously, Tristana is now gonna sit and base there. Is she? No, she's not. I was like, she's not AFK, right? I checked. No one was AFK. Ever since the mishap of one of those games where I covered an entire game, 40-minute game, got to 32 minutes in the recording, and then someone AFK'd, was like, oh my god, no way. So you just have to kind of skip those scenarios, but we're fine here. This is perfect though. Bottom inhib, leveraged into a dragon, into a baron, into mid inhib. Someone else pushes the top wave. We join the top wave as it collapses in. Now JARVAN goes pure earth mode here. It's up again. Max range EQ, and there you go, max range EQ dunk into flash out. We're getting bombarded. W! Oh no! We finally died. 22 minutes, 21 seconds. Rest in peace, Spearman. Another inhib as well. Try and end, but now you got to be cautious. Back off. Back off. You got all the pressure in the world. No reason to coin flip anything. Wait for JARVAN to respawn. And wait for everybody to go back to base. We're looking at now 1113. You can't see it actually, but again, match history is always linked in the description. You can go ahead and look at the replay yourself and see these numbers. I never lie about the numbers. My brand has never been about lying about numbers. If I say there's going to be 1,000 AP in a video, there will always be 1,000 AP in the video. But I've never done that, so. Now, Death's Dance. I mean, you could just go Sterix, honestly. I do like the Sterix for this kind of situation better. I also like Black Cleaver in general. Here is great in a longer game, but for this kind of end, you can just go Sterix or Stoneplate. You can even go a GA, you know. It's fine. It really doesn't really matter. He's such a big lead. EQ dunk in, do some fisting, and then EQ out, and then EQ in again. That being said, a great game. Use the tools. Just because he's got the best soul for the best... Just because he wants to cut some wood and he's got the right soul for the job doesn't mean, you know, it's wrong. That's what you meant to do. That's what the game's about. Although I do wish Riot would do something about it at this current point. But otherwise, use a tool for the job. Get your LP as easily as possible. And enjoy writing your thesis on the side.